Sweat streamed down his face as the crowd chanted his name. Malik, the once forgotten fat boy, now standing tall in the boxing ring. Across the ropes, the same classmates who used to mock him watched in stunned silence. The gloves on his fists weren't just tools, they were a statement. No one saw this coming. No one knew what he'd endured. But at this moment, everything had changed. This is not just a story about boxing. It's a story of fighting back against a world that laughed too soon. Watch till the end to witness what happens when power finally shifts. Comment your city below. Every morning, the narrow sidewalk outside Northbrook High turned into a gauntlet. Kids clustered in circles, trading jokes and breakfast snacks, while the tall brick buildings echoed with laughter, some genuine, some cruel. Among the crowd walked Malik, round-faced, soft-spoken, and noticeably overweight. He tried to stay invisible. His oversized hoodie hung low, head always down, backpack hugged tight to his chest like a shield. Malik didn't speak much in class. He sat in the back, took notes, and prayed the teacher wouldn't call on him. For most, he was forgettable. But to a group of boys who prowled the halls looking for easy targets, Malik was precisely what they wanted: quiet, different, and defenseless. They called him names: Marshmallow, Lardbucket, and Bigfoot. At lunch, they'd knock his tray over and laugh as he scrambled to pick it up. Sometimes, they'd film it. Other times, they'd trip him in the hall and walk away without a glance. No teacher ever seemed to notice. No student spoke up, and Malik, he never told anyone. Not even his mom, who worked 2 jobs and came home too tired to ask more than, "How was school?" But behind Malik's silence burned something deeper. Every night, when the lights were off and the world went quiet, he'd scroll through boxing videos, watch fighters move like shadows. His favorite, a heavyweight champion, once said, "Your fists are your voice when no one listens." That quote lived in Malik's head. It followed him into the darkness of the school hallways. What no one knew was that Malik had started training hard, not for revenge but for redemption. The world had written a story about him. Malik had other plans. Soon, the bullies were about to learn that the quiet fat kid had fists they couldn't ignore. It started with a gym tucked behind a rundown strip mall sign, half faded, the paint peeling. Malik found it by accident one night while wandering the neighborhood. Inside, the smell of sweat, old leather, and ambition clung to the walls. No mirrors, no music, just raw noise. Gloves hitting bags, ropes slapping against the floor, and the sharp commands of a trainer who'd seen it all. Malik didn't know how to throw a punch, but he had one thing the others didn't: pain. Not the kind that screams, but the kind that sits deep and silent. The type you carried out. The trainer didn't ask questions. He saw something in Malik's eyes. Every afternoon after school, Malik showed up. He wrapped his hands in tape, stepped into the ring, and learned to dance with his fists. At first he was slow, clumsy, and winded in minutes. But day after day, he came back, skipping rope, shadowboxing, sparring, bleeding, growing. Meanwhile, the school didn't change. The bullies kept circling. One day they snatched his gym bag and dumped it into a puddle. Another day, they cornered him near the bathroom's ring, pushing him against the cold tiles. But Malik's eyes had changed. He didn't flinch anymore. Still, he waited, not out of fear but out of purpose. He was learning control, discipline, strength. The gym wasn't just teaching him to fight, it was teaching him who he was. Then came the locker room incident. The ringleader, Kyle, big, brash, always with a crowd, grabbed Malik by the collar and shoved him against a row of lockers. "You think wearing hoodies makes you tough, huh?" he sneered. The other boys laughed, egging him on. Malik looked at him, steady, calm, no fear. That unnerved them. "Say something, fat boy," Kyle shouted. But Malik didn't speak. He just stared, and that stare, it was the last moment Kyle held power over him. Later that week, a flyer went up around town. Amateur Youth Boxing Invitational, open entry. No one from school cared. No one noticed except Malik. He registered quietly, trained harder, and when the day came, he stepped into the ring wearing plain shorts, taped knuckles, and a storm inside. What happened next would change everything. Gym lights buzzed overhead. A crowd of parents, trainers, and kids pressed against the ropes, murmuring with excitement. Malik stepped into the ring, breathing slow and deep. The world around him fading. Across from him stood his opponent, leaner and confident. Not one of the school bullies, but someone just as dismissive. He smirked when he saw Malik. That smirk Malik had seen so many times before. The bell rang. Malik didn't rush. He moved, light, patient. His opponent came in fast jabs, quick combos, but Malik absorbed, deflected, and danced. The crowd leaned in, then Malik struck. A clean left hook, then a body shot, another jab. The crowd gasped. His opponent staggered by the third round. It was clear Malik wasn't just a fighter, he was a storm. When the final bell rang, his glove shot up. He had won, but that wasn't the climax, because standing at the edge of the ring and noticed, until now, were the identical boys who had bullied him for years, Kyle included. Their faces slack, shocked, speechless. Malik met their eyes. He didn't smirk, didn't gloat, he just nodded. That night, Malik didn't just win a fight. He rewrote his story. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city, name in the comments. News of the fight spread like wildfire through the school. Clips from the match went viral locally. Malik, once the invisible target, was now someone no one could ignore. The bullies, they backed off completely. Kyle transferred schools before the semester's end. No apology, just silence. But Malik didn't need it. He wasn't fighting for revenge. He was fighting for something bigger, his dignity. He kept training. Not to become feared, but to become whole. And with each punch thrown, he let go of the shame, the mockery, the years of isolation. Something else changed. To a younger student, quiet, shy, and chubby, approached him one afternoon. "Are you the boxer?" he asked, eyes wide. Malik nodded. The boy smiled. "Can you teach me?" That's when Malik realized the fight had never just been about him. It was about showing others that pain didn't have to define you, that silence wasn't weakness. The gym that once smelled of sweat and solitude now echoed with laughter, training gloves, and hope. Malik began mentoring younger kids, building a small community where no one felt like an outsider. And while racism, body shaming, and bullying still plagued many, Malik's story became a symbol in his neighborhood, a reminder that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes, it learns to punch back with grace. The world had tried to break him, but he didn't just stand back up. He rose, gloves on, heart steady. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories and fresh videos.